So good morning everybody, and welcome to the 3VA moulded case circuit breaker section of the Siemens UK Electrical Products Symposium. A warm welcome to you all, and it's good to have you along with us. I'm going to be taking you through the 3VA MCCB, as I've just said there, but what we're going to focus on today is internal accessories and also external accessories. How to fit them, what they all do, where they're all housed, etc. So, let's get into it. 3VA is available in both 3VA1 thermomagnetic and 3VA2 electronic trip unit forms, ranging from 16 amps all the way through to 1600 amps. There are a vast range of breaking capacities to choose from, 16 kA through to 110 kA. The thermomagnetic variants come in both fixed overload and fixed short circuit variants, as well as adjustable variants. The electronic trip unit versions cover the standard protective functions of L, S, I and G, with some models including Profinet communication capability and even built-in energy monitoring functionality. As you can see from this topology overview, this gives you the ability to tie your MCCBs into a local area network on industrial comms, or even into the cloud for IoT applications. So that was a brief look at both 3VA1 thermomag devices and 3VA2 electronic trip units. But I did promise we were here to take a look at the accessories. So let's now delve into the full accessory portfolio for the 3VA range. So let's start with the internal accessories. There's a number to choose from, as you can see here, but thankfully they are colour coded. We have the standard auxiliary, the leading changeover switch, the trip alarm switch and the short circuit alarm switch. On the bottom layer here we have the under voltage release, a shunt trip, and finally the universal release. The universal release incorporates both a UVR and a shunt trip into one accessory. So this should save space should you need to fit them both alongside some standard auxiliaries, for example. Okay, so let's take a look at how to fit some internal accessories to our 3VA1 thermomagnetic device. You can see on the front cover here that I've already removed the two connection screws for the front cover itself. The breaker is currently in the on position, so if we try and remove the cover with the screws taken out, we actually can't do that because there's a safety interlock there to stop us taking the cover off with the breaker on. So first things first, let's move the breaker to the off position. We can now remove the front cover. We've got a few internal accessories over here. We've got our universal release and a couple of standard auxiliaries as well, as we looked at earlier. So first things first, let's get our universal release. Let's make sure the mechanism is in the bottom position. And then it should be as simple as slotting that into the left hand side of the device and listening for the click. There's your click. Now we'll do the same with the auxiliaries on the right hand side. 1, and 2. So we now have our internal accessories housed within the breaker. What we need to do now though is fit our cable connections to our universal release. So if we take our 4 cable connections, starting with the first one here, we slot that into the terminal there. We then take our screwdriver and we tighten up that terminal. We then repeat this action 4 times. So we've now fitted our cable connections to our universal release. Before we put the front cover back on, there's a couple of things to do. But first things first, let's double check that we've put our internal accessories in the correct position. We can do this by having a quick look at the front cover and turning it over and seeing what's on the back. So now we've got the front cover, we've turned it over, we're having a look at the back here. You can see there's a couple of text boxes that have been moulded into the front cover there that let you know where you should mount each internal accessory. And if you look on this left hand side here, you'll see that the 6th box down lists a U&I, that's for a universal release. Now when we turn this cover round, that is obviously the left hand side of the cover, so we know we've put the universal release in the correct slot. Whilst we're here as well, we've obviously got the cable connections inside the universal release there. To route them out the side of the device, we need to create a channel. To do that, we use these perforations on the side of the front cover here. So let's now notch those out. So we've now notched out our front cover for the device here, so let's fit it back on. So the device is still in the off position, slide the cover over, make sure that our cables are routed into the correct position, hold the cover down, and then we simply tighten up our screws. Right, so that's a universal release successfully fitted to our 3VA device. We've got another internal accessory on the table here. This is our short circuit alarm switch along with the mechanism as well. We know it's that because, as we said earlier, all these accessories are colour coded. Nice bright orange colour for you there. So we've got another video to run through now. Let's see exactly how we fit this accessory into our 3VA moulded case circuit breaker. Okay, so up next, let's take a look at some terminal accessories for 3VA. What we've got here is a 3VA1 160 amp device, and this is the world's smallest 70 kA device, and it will accept up to 70 square mil cable as standard. However, 3VA has a vast array of terminal extension options available. We've got box terminals, as you can see here. We've got rear connection terminals, all the way through to multi-connection circular conductor terminals. What I've got just off shot to the side of the camera though are some oversized cable extensions for 150 square mil cable. So let's get those fitted. Okay, so I've brought those 150 mil cable extension terminals into shot here just to give you an idea of everything we've got. We've got the device over here with the box terminals already inside. We've got the nut keepers. We've got the bolts and washers, we've got the terminals themselves, and then over here we've got the extended terminal shroud as well. So first things first, we're going to remove the box terminals in the standard breaker, and to do that we need a flathead screwdriver and an Allen key. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's get these box terminals taken out. We've got our flathead screwdriver here. Now it's as simple as, let's just lift the device up there, make sure you can see that. Get our flathead screwdriver, we're going to pop these tabs out on each one of these little mouldings at the bottom, and once we've popped those out we can get the screwdriver in there and just pop each moulding out just like that, and then they simply slide out. Get rid of those. Now we just need to remove the actual box terminals themselves. So we get our Allen key, get that slotted into there, just undo that slightly, same on the next one. It's now loose, and then the third one as well. They're all loose, and we simply tilt that forward and remove all three of the box terminals. So now we've done that, let's just move everything out of the way so we don't get anything messed up. Let's bring in one of our 150 square mil terminals. So let's first bring in the nut keeper, our terminal, and then our bolt and washer to go with that as well. So first things first, we're going to slot our moulding into the bottom of the device here. So we simply slot it in place, and it clips in. Now I'm going to position the bolt and the washer already in the terminal there, and just hover that into position there. Pick the Allen key back up, and then we're going to tighten that into the terminal. Simple as that. So that's one done, let's get the other two done. Okay, so we've got all three terminals fitted now. Now do make sure that you check the instruction leaflet that comes with the device and torque those bolts to the correct torque values with an appropriate torque wrench. That's the terminals done. Now let's fit our terminal shroud to cover them up. So let's get our bottom terminal shroud. Slide that in there. And then we need our top terminal shroud to go on top of there as well. There we go. Right, so that takes us to the end of the external accessory fitment on those terminals. Let's just rewind and recap slightly here though. We've got our topology slide back on the screen, as you can see, the Modbus TCP and Modbus RTU network. We did mention earlier that the 3VA had the ability to include communication options as standard, and in some cases, if you're using the ETU 800 series, you can even export energy monitoring values where required. But exactly how does it do that? What physical components and physical accessories do you need to do this? Well, you need what is known as the COM60 module. So let's have a look in depth at exactly how we fit that to our circuit breaker. So with 3VA, just like the rest of the Siemens Centron portfolio, should you need to access any technical documentation for the device, simply pull out your smartphone, scan the QR code on the front of the breaker, and that will take us through to the Siemens SIOS portal, Siemens Industry Online Support. If we simply zoom in, select our language there, you'll see that that takes us through to the device in question. And that brings us to the end of the 3VA moulded case circuit breaker section of the symposium today. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that gave you an idea of just how easy it is to fit internal and external accessories to the breaker, and hopefully that will benefit you going forward with any application issues on site. Unfortunately, you've got more of me up next on the 3WA session, so I'll see you then. Thank you.